Did you know Japan actually managed to occupy part of the United States during World War II? The Aleutian Islands campaign is one of those World War II stories most people never hear about, but it's actually a big deal because it's the only time enemy troops occupied U.S. territory since the War of 1812. The Aleutian Islands stretch from Alaska toward Asia, a long chain of cold, foggy, windswept islands that are brutal to live or fight on. The whole thing kicked off in June 1942, right around the time of the Battle of Midway. Japan attacked the Aleutians partly to distract the US from Midway and partly to set up a protective buffer zone in the North Pacific. They bombed Dutch Harbor, a key American base, then moved in and occupied two remote islands, Attu and Kiska. Even though these islands were tiny and practically uninhabitable, the idea of Japan holding American soil shocked the public back home. Life for soldiers on both sides was miserable. The Aleutians are known for some of the worst weather on the planet: endless fog, freezing temperatures, hurricane-force winds, and mud everywhere. More troops were injured or killed by exposure, accidents, and sickness than by actual fighting. Planes crashed in the fog, ships got lost, frozen feet, exhaustion, and depression were constant issues. The US slowly built up forces in the area, but everything took longer because of the weather. Eventually, American planes and ships isolated the occupied islands, cutting off supplies. Then, in May 1943, the US launched a major assault to take back Attu. This turned into one of the toughest battles of the Pacific War. Japanese troops dug into the steep hills, and American soldiers had to fight uphill in freezing conditions. Just moving around was a struggle. As the battle came to an end, the Japanese commander ordered a massive banzai charge, hundreds of soldiers charging straight at US lines in a desperate final attack. It caused chaos, but the Americans eventually pushed them back. Very few Japanese survived. Most died in combat or took their own lives rather than surrender. After Attu was secured, the US prepared to retake Kiska. They bombed it heavily and sent in a huge invasion force in August 1943. But when American and Canadian troops landed, they discovered something unbelievable. The Japanese had slipped away weeks earlier, using the dense fog to escape without being detected. Even though the island was empty, the landing was still dangerous. Fog, mines, traps, and friendly fire incidents caused hundreds of casualties. Once the islands were back under US control, American forces used them as bases for limited air raids on northern Japan. The campaign officially ended in 1943, but its lessons stuck. It forced the US military to learn how to operate in extreme Arctic conditions, and it reminded both sides how unpredictable the North Pacific could be. Today, the Aleutian Islands campaign is still one of the least talked about battles of World War II. It didn't have the scale of Midway or the iconic imagery of Iwo Jima, but it was fought in some of the harshest conditions of the war and came with a surprisingly high human cost. And it marks a rare moment when the war literally reached American soil.